Chuck, this one's a tough one because there's a lot to talk about, but we really want your insight and your education to our network. What is zero trust and what are the seven pillars?
All right. Great question. So, what is zero trust? Zero trust is the idea as an architecture or as a concept is that you intrinsic trust that we used to have in network centric technologies that I trust you because you're on the network that goes away. So I need to then take information about you as you're trying to access data and apply that as part of it. So, there's things like there's the user pillar where you deal with stuff like identity, credentialing, and access management. I can't. There's a device pillar. Hey, that's device identity, resiliency, things. It's like our last podcast that we talked about previously. But it also gets into endpoint management and the ideas along those lines. There's application workload. So this gets you hear people talk about H-bomb, S-bomb. This is the S-bomb and X-bomb category. You can think about this as being able to work through, what do you have, and also some processes, we talk about things like DevSecOps, how that comes in, how do you integrate, how do you move things to the left so that development has more resources. You're doing things like security by design. You have tools to implement security by design. So that's that application of workload piece. Data. Okay, data is sort of a broad one, but this is where you can see like data protection. You can see things like encryption coming in. Previous podcast. I'm going to get that running joke. But then the idea of how do you build around that data? What are the access controls that look like around that? How do you this and data is kind of the core pillar, right? So everything kind of feed into this one. Because ultimately everything's about how do I get to a point where I say you are authorized to access data. And then moving off of the core tenant, let's talk about network and environment. So network and environment, these are the things like, you'll see a lot of cloud-based zero trust enabling solutions live in this space. So like network micro-segmentation, you can say application micro-segmentation, where you can say, I'm going to fence you off in this little segment, and that's all you do. Automation and orchestration. A lot of things fit into this place. This could be, everything from feedback loops to trigger based off of something happening. So, what was given can be taken away in terms of, when you determine you can be trustworthy. The idea of doing that's like SOAR comes to mind. You had SEM, now you have SOAR, the entire thing about, automation and security, orchestration, automation, and response. I'm actually doing some pretty cool work on that one, particularly right now. And then visibility and analytics. This is, everything from sucking in threat intelligence data to feed things like the automation and orchestration, that can do things like ultimately change the characteristics of how data is being consumed. You get into the standard, this is where SOAR lived in automation and orchestration. Visibility and analytics is where like traditional SIEM lives, right? So that you have that piece there. And then, you want to be able to look at, so you have, being able to grab in log data and do something with it. So now you have all 7 of these pillars. Each of these applications, it's worth noting, I kidded about like 3 of the 7 things that, and I acknowledged one that I'm kind of working in. I didn't say I do all 7. Right. That's the thing. No one has to, I do all 7. No one really does. So that speaks to the point that, now here's the other thing. Keep in mind though, about the 7 pillars. And this is where I'm going to hammer on use cases, is that your use cases will weave through those 7 pillars. And that's what you determine, okay, this is how I'm going to protect this data, the protect service. And, it's, so I think that's why it's important to consider that piece as well.